Here's a short video of my garden. I wanted to post a video update for a while now, so you can have a complete view of the garden. It's hard to see it by pictures, just to get an overall feel for it. So here's a view of the garden from the outside of the gate. This is 50 feet across, and it's 40 feet deep. The beds are approximately 12 by 4 feet raised beds, and in the center we have a pergola now, which is awesome. And my intention is to grow grapes to go up and over the pergola. I think it'd be a nice place to sit. So far we've been enjoying it. So here's the view. There's my grapes ready to be planted and attached so that they can be pulled up and over as they grow. You can see all the beds here. I've used companion planting to put all the to plant the vegetables correctly so that they can grow successfully and not be hindered by planting it with the wrong plant. So I've got, on this side of the garden, I have the peas, the beans, the corn, the melons, the squash, and at the end I have zucchini and eggplant. On the side here I've got a pumpkin, which is ambitious of me because it's a small little space for it, but I'm hoping that it'll trail along the between the rows here, and I'll just let it go and I'll try to direct it so we don't step on it too much. I have cedar mulch down between the rows, so it's really smells good and it's nice to walk on. It's soft, feels natural. I have water in the garden now, so I'm able to water it. I have a 100-foot hose currently. Next year we might do some irrigation, but for this year we're just using this hose. So it's a little challenging, but it's okay. I don't mind. It does take about 2 hours to water this garden currently, if not longer if I don't stop to weed. There's a pumpkin. I have herbs here, all kinds of herbs. I have rosemary and tarragon and different parsleys and Thai basil and Aristotle basil. And here's a flat leaf parsley and garlic chive, regular chive, different kinds of onions here, red and white sweet. Melon bed is here. Here's the corn and the pole beans. My makeshift teepee, first attempt ever, so far it's okay, but I wouldn't mind if it was a bit taller because the pole beans have now reached the top and they're looking for somewhere to attach to, so whatever happens, happens this year. Squashes are here. We planted, I think I planted way too many squash because they're just on top of each other, but it's all okay this year. It's a learning experience, but you can see it's down in the row on both sides. So we'll see what happens. I assume it'll be a challenge later as we walk on them, but we'll make it work. I have eggplant here and zucchini here. That's the end. That's the back side. Down here I have leeks. First time ever attempt at planting leeks. And I co-planted with radish, and we've been pulling the radishes and they're doing great. They're delicious and awesome, and leeks are growing great, so that's awesome. Okra, I've been trying, but there's a bug, and because I garden organically, I'm just letting things happen. I've tried diatomaceous earth, and I have a couple here that are doing okay, but all the real leaves that are coming up are being eaten, so we'll see what happens. Here I have different peppers, and you can see that they're getting pretty big. They're supposed to be red, so as long as our weather stays warm, I hope that they will turn red at some point. But the birds are enjoying them, which is interesting because I didn't know that birds like peppers, but they do. They've been picking at them. But since I have about 7 pepper plants here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pepper plants, I'm hoping we'll have some, so I'm not really worried about it too much. So there's the peppers. And I've co-planted with marigold just to keep the critters from sniffing around too much through the fence. You can see the zucchini there. We've been picking every day, and they're great. And that's the zucchini. Here are a few eggplants more. And my asparagus is here at the back. I have 30 crowns that I planted this year. And each and every one of them is doing great. They've all ferned out and they just keep producing. So we're hoping by next year they'll be 2-year-old plants. And apparently I've spoken to an asparagus farmer who advised that I could pick for 2 weeks. So I'm hoping to get some. We'll see. Here are tomatoes. I have 35 tomato plants, mostly heirloom. And not all started from seed, but next year for sure. Indoors. So here's the tomatoes in the back. They're huge. I'd like a better support for them next year. So this is the first time trying these spiral stakes. And they're pushed down right into the ground through the landscape fabric. So they are pretty strong. But these plants need more support just to hold them in. So they're just growing like crazy. There's a ton of flowers, lots of little tomatoes. I'm hoping to get something. Looking forward to trying something. There's lots. There's 35 plants. So here's more on the outside, all different kinds. There's a tomatillo section. I have cucumber beetles in them and lots of earwigs. And I've picked off the cucumber beetles, but they've come back. I can't catch them this time for some reason, but the earwigs are just crazy. We have so many earwigs here. So they're eating the leaves, but they are developing cute little lanterns. There's a good one right there. There's one. Look forward to trying that. Never grown that before. And then continue on. There's the tomatoes. Huge. Barely see through the aisles. It's all good. No worries. Peppers. These cucumbers I started in ground here from seed. And they're growing really well. I've co-planted them with zucchini. With radish. I have no cucumber beetles. The zucchinis have all gone to flower. They're huge in the ground. The flea beetles have been eating them. And but nothing's touching the cucumbers, so I'm grateful. I'm hoping to try some. These are all heirlooms. Really interesting history on each one of them. So I'm hoping to enjoy those one day soon. But I did plant a ton more radish seeds. I just scattered them right through the garden. As you can see, they're coming up. They look like weeds in the middle, but they're radish. And I've used a lot of diatomaceous earth, food grade. And I think the flea beetles are still there, but we are harvesting some radishes on the other side of the garden. So even though they're eating the leaves, we're still enjoying the radishes. So it's all good. But the cucumbers are great. This is a big cucumber plant. I did buy this plant. It's a Lebanese cucumber, and it's growing really well. Finally, it took a long time for it to get started. It had been knocked over twice, had to regrow, and now it's finally doing well. And I just picked this one, so this is great. I picked 3 others today, and 2 days ago, and the one before that. So we're doing well. This is going to be a crystal apple cucumber. Looks like a Granny Smith, and it's growing really well, and nothing's touching it. But right beside it is lemon cucumber, and I have tried and tried and tried, and some bug really likes it. So it's finally regrowing, and I have tried so many times. I'm not sure if we'll actually enjoy it because it's still tiny, and I just keep planting more and more seeds because I'm dying to try this thing. And I've tried in the past, and I've never been able to grow it for some reason. It's the only one that's giving me trouble. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants there, and I have another 3 on the other side of the garden. So I'm hoping that one of them will make it, and I will actually enjoy one. That's an Armenian cucumber. I started that from seed here. It's finally doing well, but also bug is eating the leaves, but it's actually persevering and growing, and they have radishes there as well. This is Swiss chard, rainbow lights. So there's red ones in there, there's pink ones, there's yellow ones, white ones. They're all in there, and they're finally growing really well. I have the windmills in there because the birds were dying. We're just grabbing them all in the beginning, so I had to put the windmills in. The windmills kept the birds away, so now they're finally growing, and they look beautiful. They're ready to be picked. And some lettuces here. The back row is spicy Asian mix, heirlooms, and the flea beetles love it. So they've really munched it down, but some are actually producing now, so we'll see what happens with that. But the rest of them, there's tons. So if we don't get the Asian mix, that's okay. That's another lettuce bed. Half of it is frisee, which is like an endive, and the other half is a mixed heirloom salad mix, a mild one, and nothing's touching that. But the birds were picking at it initially, but I had to put the plates in and I had to put the windmills in, and they've stayed away and they're growing finally. And this is just some funky lavender. It's called red lavender or something. That's just some leftover basil I had. And this is really interesting. This is a broken piece. This piece was a branch off of the Cherokee purple tomato plant. We had a bad rain and an arm fell off and the arm was full of flowers. So I thought, well, instead of throwing this thing out, I'll just plant it in the soil and see what happens. And I did read somewhere before that it can root itself. And I know that there's hairy fibers all over the stem of the tomato, the entire tomato plant. And those little hairy fibers, those are all potential roots. So needless to say, I planted it and it is growing and it's producing really, really well. And it's got new growth on it. The stem is really strong. At first it started to wilt for a couple days and it's just come back to life. It's been about a week now and it looks really good. So that's another Cherokee purple right there. That would be plant number 36. And carrying on, that's my lettuces right there. I have some hot peppers here, but there's a bug eating them. And that's a hot banana hot pepper right there. I had earwigs eating the other ones. This is cherry bell, they'll be red. And down here at the end are habaneros. Never grown these things before, so it's pretty exciting. One of them is actually turning dark right now, so maybe I'll have them soon. And this is, today I just planted dinosaur kale in here, lacinato kale. It's an heirloom, it's from the 18th century. So I'm looking forward to enjoying that, and hopefully it'll be ready sometime the end of August when it starts to cool down. And then right behind the picnic table I have my fancy beets. I have, which I've written about before. I have really old beets in there. I have a 1,000-year-old beet called crapadine. I'm not sure how to pronounce it right. And as well as lots of others, 15th century, 17th century, and on. So they're starting to grow. I've thinned them out, and the crapadines might be ready a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to trying them. Those are supposed to be amazing and really sweet. And they look different, so I'll post a blog on that as soon as it's ready. And that's it. Just some leftover things here. This is another sweet million tomato plant. It's like tiny little cherry tomatoes. And I planted carrots. I wasn't planning to because this triple mix that we purchased was really lumpy, and I thought I won't get any straight carrots out of it. But for my children, they love carrots. I thought we'll just see what happens. I tried to rake it out a bit. So the carrots are finally growing, but we'll see what happens with that. They're tiny. And finally, these are extra beets because I just love beets and I wanted to have more. And these are Detroit or Bull's Blood beet. These ones right here. These are also an heirloom. And that's it. So that's my garden. Hope you enjoyed the tour. I'm happy to be able to show the entire garden all at once. And hope you guys enjoy, have a great evening and happy gardening. Thanks so much.